Is it actually possible to cook a restaurant quality Japanese dinner for less than the price of a small coffee? Or to put it in UK terms, the price of a Greggs sausage roll? People back home are constantly asking me, what's the cost of living like in Japan? After all I hear about is expensive Kobe beef and $50 melons. Well, today I'm going to show you that living in Japan doesn't have to be expensive. Greetings and salutations, my friends. My name is Adam. I currently live in Kobe, Japan, and today I'm going to take you to the holy grail of budget supermarkets in Japan, Gyomu Super. I'm going to show you what the cost of groceries are here compared to the UK, and that's not all, my friends. I'm also going to cook Okonomiyaki, which is famous here in Kansai. The catch? I've never actually cooked this myself. What could possibly go wrong? Well, let's take our little food budget here and head off to Gyomu Super. So Gyomu Super is like a budget supermarket here in Japan. Think of it like an Aldi or Lidl in the UK, or say a Costco if you're in the US, minus the membership and having to buy 1,000 toilet rolls. Gyomu literally means business or professional. It's where a lot of local restaurant owners actually do their shopping, as well as poor foreigners like myself. So while I'm here shopping around for okonomiyaki ingredients, I want to also highlight some staples and compare them to what they are in the UK. And I think we should start with the shocking one, which is fruit. As you see that melon there? 1,000 yen. That's about £5, so double of what it would be in the UK. Luckily we're steering clear of fruit today. Let's grab our first ingredient for okonomiyaki. This is half a cabbage. It costs around 129 yen. You could probably buy a full cabbage for that in the UK, to be fair. And let's pick up some nagaimo for 183 yen. Never cooked with this before, so this should be fun. Next we're going to grab some eggs, and these cost 314 yen. And for the same amount in the UK, it would cost us pretty much double this. And while we're over here with the dairy, I just want to highlight the price of cream cheese here. It's a little bit more expensive than in the UK, as is butter. The milk surprisingly is a bit cheaper than the UK. Next we'll grab some red pickled ginger, not something I've ever cooked with before. And now seems a good time to point this out about Japanese prices. The big red number is not actually what you pay the number below it. This was actually a big culture shock for me, because in the UK the price you see is the price you pay. And yeah, this took some getting used to. Also, top tip for anyone, buy frozen veg, don't bother with fresh. It's just as good and cheaper. And now for our pork belly. You can see this costs around 391 yen. Now we'll look at some beef. We won't be buying today, but yeah, it's about 1,000 yen, which isn't bad compared to the UK. Now we've got to go buy our flour. Now you can buy a mix that will give you the dashi and the baking powder in it already, but we're on a budget, so plain flour it is. You'd probably never see cola at that low price in the UK, not with sugar tax. But speaking of beverages, there's of course cheap alcohol over here in Japan. You can get yourself a nice 9% strong zero for 137 yen, but I'm going to grab a nice Asahi super dry. And do not worry, my fellow Brits, because baked beans are still on the menu here in Japan. As is the glorious British white bread, so you can still enjoy beans on toast. Now, I'm sure you're getting bored of the shopping now, but let's grab the most important part, the okonomiyaki sauce. This would cost a lot more back in the UK, but it's Japan, so it's pretty damn reasonable. It's kind of like a barbecue sauce, but a bit more depth to it. Now, don't mind me just buying some frozen udon noodles for a few quick meals. And let's just get out of here. Let's get back to the apartment. Welcome back to the apartment. I can show you everything I bought. This all cost us 3,355 yen altogether, or in His Majesty's Great British Pounds, around £16. But that concludes the groceries section of this video. I hope you enjoyed Gyomu Super as much as I do. So is the UK or Japan cheaper for groceries? Overall, I'd say Japan is. I'd say they're about 10% cheaper here than in the UK. But it does depend on what you're buying. Of course, if you're buying imported cheeses and stuff like that, which I do love, everyone loves a good cheese, right? Those are going to be a bit more expensive here. But if you're enjoying the local cuisine, shopping locally, and reasonably priced supermarkets, then Japan is going to be a little bit cheaper for you. That said, I do miss sausages a lot. If you know where to get good sausages in Japan, please let me know. I'm desperate for good sausage and mash. But anyway, let's move on to the cooking segment. We're going to go to Lily's kitchen right now. I'm going to cook okonomiyaki for the first time. Let's hope it doesn't end up in a disaster. And are we going to be able to do it for less than the price of a Greggs sausage roll? Let's find out. So here we are in Lily's kitchen, much fancier than mine. But while I'm getting ready here, let's just explain the rules of the challenge. I have to make my first ever okonomiyaki for less than the price of a Greg sausage roll, which is about £1.35, which is 283 yen. So I'm going to go over the cost of each ingredient here as I put it into the mixture. For example, this bag of flour here. We're using about 120 grams of this 1 kilogram bag, which costs us 160 yen. Which means this costs us 19 yen. Now this recipe makes about 4 pancakes, so we're going to divide the final number by 4 at the end. Next we add our baking powder, just a teaspoon of it, so this costs about 10 yen. So far so good. Though I did make a little bit of a mess when I tried to put it back. So quickly in the intermission, we add about 6 yen's worth of salt and 5 yen's worth of sugar, and just give the mixture a quick stir. Now onto the worst part, the nagaimo, which cost us 183 yen, and we'll be using all of it of course. I did not know this vegetable would be so sticky and slimy. It was really horrible to handle. And yeah, the worst part was the grating, that it was just so sticky, slimy, and like horrible to get a grip of. It like kept slipping out of my hands, and just a disgusting experience. But we got there in the end. Now we add this concoction to our mix, along with a single sachet of our dashi, which cost us, I believe, 18 yen. And now we give the mixture a good old mix until everything is pretty well combined. There we go, cover it with a bit of cling film and leave it to rest in the fridge for about 1 hour. So while that mixture is resting, let's get our cabbage ready. Now I'm going to treat you to the sound of cabbage being sliced. Lily's knife is not the sharpest, so I'm struggling a little. But there we go, loads of shredded cabbage. Let's add up the rest of our ingredients. We've got this pickled red ginger. We're going to use a few tablespoons of this, that's about 11 yen. We'll also be using all this belly pork, which costs around 358 yen. And roughly 25 grams of tempura scraps, which costs us around 10 yen. Now our mixture's back out of the fridge, looking pretty nice. Now we just got to add the eggs. So we're going to use about 4 eggs, which should cost us around 44 yen total. And now we've just got to give it a good old mix with all these eggs. And now we add our tempura scraps, mixing them in well. And then we add our red pickled ginger. I'm going to add about 4 tablespoons. And then continue to mix it so it's all well incorporated. And last but not least, we add our cabbage. We've got to make sure it's all well coated in the batter. Now I think we're off to a pretty good start here. And now in a moment of truth, let's start cooking. Just listen to that sizzle. And now we start shaping it into a nice round shape. I think it's looking pretty good so far. And now we add the belly pork. Now Lily had a special request for some mochi, so I've added it here, but we're not going to add it to the price as it was in her freezer. We then cover it on a medium heat for about 5 minutes. Right, you ready for a moment of truth, folks? The flip. Not as brown as I would have liked it, but still pretty decent. And now we cover it again for another 5 minutes. And now it's time for the second flip. Ooh, looking pretty tasty. Now something a little controversial. I'm going to add a little cheese to this. Not in the recipe, but why not? I love cheese. After melting the cheese on top for a little bit, I decided to give it another flip just to cook the cheese underneath. It was not the smoothest. Now the fun part, adding our sauce, mayo and condiments. And you can see it got a bit stuck because of all the cheese I put on the bottom. But no harm was done, we did manage to detach it from the spatula eventually. Now we're going to add about 25 yen's worth of sauce, I guess. It's looking pretty lovely. Well, it was until I decided to get the mayo out. I only had the chunky mayo, so I couldn't do the fancy swirls. We did actually have some, which Lily will point out later, so the second one will look a lot nicer than this. Oh, and this costs around 25 yen, I guess. Now we add our bonotto flakes. This costs us around 10 yen for one of these sachets. And last but not least, we add our red ginger. Doesn't that look lovely? I'm not the judge, of course. The first one will go to Lily.
美味しそう。
美味しそう?
美味しそう。大丈夫そう。
大丈夫?
大丈夫そう。餅洗った。
A lot of mochi.
洗った餅。
Here we go.
Looks great. どれどれどれどれどれどれ。
Come on, here we go.
ただきます。
いただきます。
うん。
おいしい？うん。So, Lily approve?
美味しいよ、多分これ。
Lily finished it all, so that's a good sign.
I want some more.
But
This is so good. I want some more. I am making another one.
Yep. And next up is my turn. So we did actually find a nice fancy mayo now, so I can make it a nice fancy swirl. Look, doesn't that look a lot better? So yeah, I decided to fancy mine up a little bit. Hey, itadakimasu.
Oishii?
Oishii.
Oishii?
Oishii. It's good. Not a bad first attempt.
Okay, so how was it? Or the process did you enjoy?
I enjoyed making my first one. Did you enjoy having yours? Good. So I consider that a pretty successful first attempt at making okonomiyaki. But did we succeed in beating the Greg sausage roll? Well, in total, for one pancake, this came to, I believe, 215 yen after dividing by 4, which is £1 and 2 pence. So we did it. We've managed to cook a tasty Japanese dish for less than the price of a Greg sausage roll. So I hope we proved to you that you can live pretty comfortably on a budget here in Japan. It's not all expensive Kobe beef and expensive melons. You can live quite frugally here. Anyway, me and Lily are going to go enjoy this okonomiyaki, and I'll see you next time.